Have you ever felt like the whole world is testing your patience? Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your phone freezes. People talk behind your back. And suddenly, you snap. But what if I told you, every time you react, you hand your power away? I learned this the hard way. When I was young, my fists were faster than my mind. I thought reacting made me strong, until I realized that's exactly what made me weak. The real warrior doesn't fight everything that provokes him. He fights the urge to react. Calmness isn't weakness, it's control. Because when you master your emotions, you master your world. So today I'll share with you what life and battle taught me about staying calm when everything tries to trigger you. Not from theory, but from experience. Let's begin. 1. Don't let the outside control the inside. When I was younger, I used to be quick to react. A single insult, a moment of disrespect, or one small failure, and I would explode. My fists were sharp, my reflexes unmatched, but my emotions, they were faster than my punches. I didn't realize back then that true mastery is not about how fast you can move, but how still you can remain inside when the world tries to move you. You see, if anyone can control your emotions, then they control you completely. If their words can make you angry, they have already defeated you without lifting a finger. That realization changed my life. I remember a time in my early days when criticism from others would burn me from the inside. I would feel the urge to prove myself, to shout back, to show my strength. But one night, as I sat alone, I realized, if every noise from outside can disturb my peace, then I am not living from within. I am merely reacting to what's around me. That is not freedom. That is slavery. And I decided that I would no longer be controlled by the chaos outside of me. From that day, I began training not just my body, but my mind. Calmness is not weakness. Many misunderstand this. They think the one who stays silent is afraid or uncertain. But silence, when chosen, is a form of power. It is the power of someone who knows they don't need to prove anything. True strength lies in control, not of others, but of yourself. Anyone can swing a punch, but it takes real strength to hold it back. Anyone can shout, but it takes wisdom to stay still and observe. You must learn to become like water. Water does not fight back. It adapts, it flows, it adjusts, yet nothing can destroy its essence. When you pour it into a cup, it becomes the cup. When you pour it into a river, it becomes the river. It doesn't lose itself, and that's the secret. You must remain yourself in every situation. When someone provokes you, do not let their energy enter your heart. Pause. Let their words dissolve before they reach your inner peace. Because when you remain calm in front of chaos, you win without fighting. Every insult, every misunderstanding, every test in life is an invitation to practice mastery. You cannot control what others say or do, but you can always control how you respond. And that response decides who you are becoming. Some people spend their entire lives reacting to the world, defending their ego, chasing approval, fearing judgment. And in doing so, they never meet their true self. But once you learn to stay centered, once you choose peace over reaction, you rise above them all. I learned to fight thousands of opponents, but the most dangerous opponent I ever faced was not in the dojo, not on a movie set, not in competition. It was inside me. My own anger, my pride, my impatience. To master your body, you must first master your mind. And to master your mind, you must no longer let the world dictate your emotions. When I finally understood this, I became unstoppable, not because I could defeat others, but because nothing outside of me could defeat my inner peace. So remember this, the real battle is not the one outside of you, it's the one within you. The world will test you, people will trigger you, life will push your buttons. But every time you choose calmness over chaos, you're strengthening your mind. You're winning the invisible war. Don't let the noise outside silence the peace inside. Be like water, clear, deep, and unmoved by the storms above it. That is the path of true mastery. 2. The pause is power. Most people think strength is found in how fast they can respond, how sharp their words can cut back, or how quickly they can defend their pride. But I learned through experience that true power lives in the space between stimulus and response, in that single invisible moment where you decide whether to react or to remain still. That is the pause. And that pause is your greatest weapon. When I was younger, I thought reacting fast made me strong. Someone insulted me, I had to strike back. Someone doubted me, I had to prove them wrong instantly. My movements were lightning, but my mind was a storm. I had speed, but no stillness, and without stillness, there can be no control. Then one day during training, my master told me, "Bruce, you move too fast to see." I didn't understand at first. Wasn't speed the goal? But what he meant was deeper. I was reacting out of impulse, not awareness. The moment you move without awareness, you lose mastery. So I began practicing the art of the pause. Every time I sparred, I slowed down my reactions. I trained myself not to move until I felt the right moment. It was difficult. My ego hated it. My instincts screamed to act. But through that discipline, I found something incredible. I started to see more. I could read my opponent's intention before they even moved. I could anticipate the rhythm of their breath, the tension in their muscles. Why? Because I wasn't clouded by emotion. I was calm, and in that calmness, I discovered precision. In life, it's the same. When someone disrespects you, your first impulse is to react, to defend yourself, to prove your worth. But in that instant, your emotions take the driver's seat. You lose clarity, and when clarity is gone, so is your power. That's why the pause matters. The pause gives you space to choose. It separates the instinct from the intention. It's the difference between reacting and responding. A reactive person lives like a puppet, pulled by every string of emotion and circumstance. But a responsive person is the master of their strings. I learned to pause not only in fighting, but in life. When a director criticized my scene, when a student failed to understand my teaching, when fame brought noise and opinions, I paused. I observed. I asked myself, what will serve me better, reaction or response? Most of the time, silence served me best. That silence wasn't empty. It was full of awareness. In that stillness, I could feel every emotion rise and pass. Anger, pride, frustration, and as they passed, I realized none of them controlled me. I was free. You see, anger is like fire. The moment you feed it with reaction, it grows wild and burns everything. Your peace, your focus, your power. But when you pause, you become the container that holds the fire without being consumed by it. You observe the flame instead of becoming it. That's what emotional mastery means. It's not suppressing what you feel. It's watching it without letting it rule you. When life challenges you, when someone tests your patience, when failure stings, when everything around you screams for a reaction, pause. Take a breath. Count it if you must. Let your emotions surface, but don't let them steer the wheel. That one breath, that one heartbeat of silence could change your entire outcome. Because the calm man is not slow, he is precise. The pause doesn't mean inaction. It means intelligent action. It means you've seen through the illusion of urgency. The world tells you to do something right now. But the wise man knows, I'll move when my mind is still. That's how you stay ahead. I once said, be like water. But people often forget what that means. Water does not rush without purpose. It flows with perfect timing. It waits behind rocks, moves around them, and when necessary, it cuts through them with quiet persistence. That's how your mind should be, flowing but never rushing, moving but never reacting blindly. So when the world provokes you, don't waste your energy on meaningless reaction. Step back into your power. Pause, observe, then decide. Because when you learn to pause, you don't lose control. You reclaim it. You stop being a slave to every emotion and become the master of them all. And that is when you truly become powerful. The pause is not emptiness. It is awareness. It is the moment where your higher self steps in and says, "I choose peace over chaos." That single decision, repeated over time, will make you unshakable. Remember, anyone can throw a punch, but only a master knows when not to. 3. Never let emotion dictate direction. There was a time in my life when I believed emotion was power. When anger burned inside me, it felt like energy. Raw, unstoppable energy. But soon I learned that uncontrolled energy can destroy its own source. When you let your emotions take the driver's seat, you stop being the master of your journey. You let your anger steer you, your fear decide your path, and your pride lead you into battles that don't even matter. The man who lets emotion dictate direction may move fast, but he moves blind. And blindness, even with strength, is weakness. I saw this lesson play out many times in the dojo. A fighter would come in full of confidence, strong body, sharp movements, a loud spirit. But the moment he got hit, anger took over. His punches became wild, his breathing heavy, his mind clouded. And that's when I knew he had already lost. Because when emotion takes over, precision disappears. You don't fight with awareness anymore, you fight with impulse. And impulse is predictable. A calm opponent will see every move before it happens. In life, it's no different. When someone offends you, when you lose something valuable, when life doesn't go your way, emotion rises like a storm. It wants to move you immediately. It wants to shout, to run, to fight, to act. But wisdom whispers, wait. See clearly first. If you let the storm decide your course, you'll end up lost. Emotion may give you speed, but clarity gives you direction. One without the other is chaos. I learned this truth through pain. When I first entered the world of movies, many didn't believe in my philosophy or my art. They tried to shape me into something smaller, something marketable. My pride wanted to resist. My anger wanted to walk away, but I paused. I told myself, don't fight the storm, use it. I learned to channel emotion into purpose. Instead of letting anger lead me, I let it fuel my determination. Instead of letting frustration guide my choices, I used it to sharpen my focus. Emotion is energy. You must decide whether to burn yourself with it or build something with it. You see, when you act in anger, you create regret. When you act in fear, you limit yourself. When you act in pride, you isolate yourself. But when you act from calm awareness, you create alignment. Your decisions become powerful because they come from balance, not chaos. You are no longer chasing temporary satisfaction. You are following long-term truth. That's what I call mastery, not control over others, but control over yourself. I remember during one of my earliest film sets, a disagreement broke out between crew members. Everyone was shouting, accusing, blaming. I could feel my frustration rising, the urge to take charge, to silence everyone with authority. But something inside me stopped me. I realized that if I entered the storm, I would only add to it. So I stayed silent. I observed. I waited until everyone had exhausted their noise. Then, with a calm tone, I spoke. And in that silence, my voice carried more power than all their shouting combined. Because when you are calm in chaos, people feel your authority, not through volume, but through presence. That's the essence of emotional mastery. Not the absence of emotion, but the awareness of it. You will always feel anger, sadness, pride, desire. These are parts of being human. The problem begins when you let these emotions hold the pen and write your story. Emotions are visitors. Let them come, but don't let them unpack and stay. Listen to them, learn from them, but do not obey them. When emotion leads, mistakes follow. You say things you don't mean. You make choices you later regret. You push away people who care for you. You destroy opportunities because you let a temporary feeling dictate a permanent consequence. How many relationships have ended because someone couldn't control their anger for 5 minutes? How many dreams have died because fear spoke louder than courage? That is the price of emotional blindness. So what do? You train your mind the same way you train your body. You don't wait for calmness to appear, you create it. When something triggers you, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, if I respond now, will this bring me closer to peace or further away from it? If your answer is unclear, stay silent. Silence doesn't mean surrender, it means self-command. In silence, your emotions settle, and truth becomes visible again. I once said, emotions are like water. They can float your boat or sink it. The direction depends on your awareness. Let your calmness be the captain and your emotions the crew. They can help you move, but they should never decide where you go. Let your decisions be guided by clarity, not impulse. Because here's the truth. When you are calm, you are unstoppable. People who act from emotion can be manipulated. They're easy to provoke, easy to distract, easy to defeat. But a calm mind sees everything. The motive behind the insult, the truth behind the appearance, the opportunity behind the obstacle. Calmness is like light. It reveals what emotion hides. So never let emotion dictate direction. Use it, but do not serve it. Feel it, but do not follow it. Let anger teach you where your boundaries are. Let sadness teach you where you still need healing. Let fear teach you what's worth facing. But don't let any of them steer your ship. Because once your mind becomes your master, your emotions will become your allies, and your life will move with purpose, precision, and peace. The next time you feel that rush of heat inside, that urge to react, remember, emotion is a wave. You can either drown in it or ride it with grace. The choice is yours. And mastery begins the moment you choose awareness over reaction, direction over distraction, and purpose over pride. 4. Observe, don't absorb. There was a time when I thought strength meant taking everything personally, every insult, every criticism, every misunderstanding. I used to let other people's energy enter my mind and shape how I felt about myself. When someone doubted me, I felt the need to prove them wrong. When someone disrespected me, I felt the need to fight back. I thought reacting meant I was strong. But over time, I discovered something much deeper. True power doesn't come from absorbing everything around you. It comes from observing without letting it touch your peace. In life, you will be surrounded by noise. People will talk, judge, criticize, compare, and project their fears onto you. If you try to absorb all of that, you will lose yourself in the chaos. You will start to live according to their expectations instead of your truth. The world will always have something to say, but you must learn to listen like a mountain listens to the wind. It hears everything, yet it remains unmoved. That is the art of mental clarity, to see, to hear, to feel, but not to absorb. When I first entered the film industry, I faced rejection after rejection. They told me I was too short, too intense, too foreign. I could feel the sting of their words. My pride wanted to shout, my anger wanted to prove them wrong. But instead, I watched. I observed how their judgments were not reflections of me. They were reflections of them, their fears, their limitations, their lack of vision. That realization freed me. Because the moment you stop absorbing people's negativity, you start seeing the world with calm eyes. You cannot stop others from speaking. You cannot stop the waves of criticism, jealousy, or misunderstanding, but you can choose what enters your inner world. Think of your mind like a clear lake. The surface will ripple when disturbed, but the depth remains still. When someone throws a stone, it creates movement for a while, but soon the water returns to its stillness. That's how your mind should be, responsive but never reactive, aware but never attached. When you absorb every opinion, you carry weights that aren't yours. Imagine walking through life wearing other people's emotions like heavy armor, their anger, their fear, their doubt. How can you move freely? You can't. You become trapped in a cage built by other minds. Observation frees you from that. Observation says, I see it, but it's not mine. Someone insults you. Observe the emotion rising, the heat, the heartbeat, the tightening of the jaw, but don't become it. Watch it pass through you like wind through an open window. It enters, but it does not stay. There's a story from my early training that shaped this philosophy. I was sparring with a student who kept losing his temper every time he was struck. After the session, I asked him, "Why do you get angry?" He said, "Because it hurts." I smiled and told him, "Pain is natural, but anger is your choice." That's when he realized that emotions are not automatic, they are reactions we feed. You can observe pain without adding anger to it. You can face loss without adding suffering to it. You can feel life without letting it poison your peace. Observation creates awareness, and awareness creates freedom. When you observe, you begin to see the truth hidden behind appearances. You start to notice patterns, how some people speak from love, while others speak from pain. You realize that when someone attacks you, it's not because you are wrong, it's because they are hurting. Hurt people project hurt. Weak minds project fear, but wise minds reflect understanding. When you observe instead of absorb, you break the chain of emotional contagion that rules most of humanity. I remember one day when a journalist criticized my philosophy, calling it too abstract, saying I was trying too hard to be deep. For a moment, my ego flared, but I caught it. I reminded myself, he sees through his lens, not mine. I smiled and said, "You can't understand water by describing it. You must become it." I didn't let his words stay with me. I let them float away like leaves on a stream. Because that's what calmness is, letting things move through you without getting stuck inside you. When you observe, you live consciously. When you absorb, you live reactively. Observation means watching your emotions, your thoughts, and your surroundings with neutrality. You stop labeling things as good or bad and start seeing them as what they are, moments, passing waves on the surface of life. And when you live like that, peace becomes your natural state. Understand this: the world is not your enemy. People are not always against you, but if you absorb their negativity, you make them part of your battle. The mind becomes heavy with resentment, comparison, and defense. When you observe, you rise above the battlefield. You stop fighting shadows and start walking in clarity. I once told my students, "Be water, my friend." But what they often miss is this: water doesn't resist the dirt, it lets it pass. It doesn't cling to the rocks, it flows around them. That's why it remains pure. You too must flow, through opinions, through criticism, through the noise of the world, without letting it contaminate your spirit. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, or the world throws chaos your way, don't absorb it. Just watch. Observe the energy, recognize it for what it is, and let it move past you. You will be amazed at how much peace returns to your life when you stop holding on to what was never yours to begin with. Remember this truth: what you observe, you understand. What you absorb, you become. Stay aware, stay light, stay free. The world will always have noise, but the wise man hears the music beneath it. That's how you win without fighting. Not by reacting, not by resisting, but by observing with clarity and staying untouchable in your calmness. 5. Calmness is a skill. Train it like a muscle. People often see calmness as something you either have or don't, like a personality trait, a gift given to the lucky few. But that's not true. Calmness is not a gift, it's a discipline. It's something you train, the same way you train your body or your technique. When I was younger, I wasn't calm. I was quick to act, quick to argue, quick to prove myself. My mind was like a pond during a storm. Every word, every challenge, every insult threw stones that created ripples in every direction. But through years of struggle, training, and failure, I realized that peace is not found. It is built. It is a muscle that must be strengthened every single day. I remember once during a fight rehearsal, things didn't go as planned. A stuntman missed his timing, and I was hit harder than expected. My first instinct was anger. My ego wanted to shout, to show frustration, but something inside me whispered, "Observe." I took a deep breath. I calmed the fire rising in my chest. And in that moment of restraint, I understood something powerful. Every reaction you control is a repetition in the gym of your mind. Every time you choose peace instead of anger, patience instead of pride, stillness instead of chaos, you are training your mental muscles to hold their ground. You can't build calmness in comfort. Just like your body grows stronger through resistance, your mind grows calmer through adversity. Every difficult person, every delay, every insult is your training partner. Life will constantly test your patience to see if you truly mastered yourself or if your peace can be stolen easily. The one who reacts has not yet trained enough. The one who observes has begun his training. The one who remains calm, even when tested again and again, has achieved mastery. When I was developing Jeet Kune Do, I learned that every movement must come from awareness, not tension. The tighter the body, the slower the flow. The same is true of the mind. If your mind is tense, full of worry and frustration, your energy cannot move freely. You block your own potential. Calmness is not about being passive or indifferent. It's about efficiency, the perfect balance between energy and control. When your mind is calm, your body moves with precision. When your emotions are settled, your decisions become sharp. Most people don't realize that anxiety, anger, and stress are not the enemies. They are the weights you must lift to build your calmness. You become strong not by avoiding them, but by facing them and learning to carry their weight without breaking. Think about how a fighter trains. At first, every hit feels like chaos. The sound, the pressure, the fear, it's overwhelming. But after enough practice, he learns to breathe in the middle of it. His body no longer panics. His mind no longer freezes. He becomes comfortable inside discomfort. That's what calmness is. Not the absence of storms, but the ability to move with grace through them. When people ask me, "Bruce, how do you stay calm when everything seems to fall apart?" I tell them, because I trained for it. I don't mean in a gym, I mean in life. Every time someone tried to provoke me, I trained. Every time I was misunderstood, I trained. Every time life delayed my success, I trained. I practiced silence when I wanted to argue. I practiced breathing when I wanted to shout. I practiced letting go when I wanted to control. It's not easy. Calmness never is. But neither is mastery. The difference between an ordinary person and a master lies in repetition. A master repeats calmness until it becomes his nature. You must begin training your calmness every single day. When someone cuts you off in traffic, breathe. When your plans fall apart, breathe. When people doubt you, breathe. When you feel fear rising, don't fight it. Watch it. Every breath you take consciously is a repetition of inner peace. And soon, you will notice that the things that once triggered you now pass by like clouds drifting across the sky. To train calmness, you must also train awareness. Awareness is the eye of the mind that sees the emotion before it takes control. The untrained mind reacts blindly. It sees the world through the fog of emotion. But a trained mind notices the rise of anger, the pulse of fear, the tension in the body, and then it chooses not to act from that space. This awareness is your inner defense system. It's what allows you to remain calm even when chaos surrounds you. I often meditate not to escape the world, but to understand it better. In stillness, I face myself. I confront the parts of me that want control, the parts that crave approval, the parts that fear failure. Meditation is not sitting in silence doing nothing. It's active awareness, training your mind to stay present and grounded no matter what thoughts appear. In that stillness, I find strength. And the more I return to that state, the easier it becomes to stay there when life challenges me. You must remember, calmness does not mean you will never feel anger again. It means anger will no longer command you. Calmness does not mean you will never face fear again. It means fear will no longer limit you. Calmness does not mean you will never fail. It means failure will no longer define you. That's what it means to train your mind like a muscle, to condition it to stay strong, flexible, and steady under pressure. The untrained mind is like an untrained body. It trembles at the first challenge. But a trained mind is like a seasoned warrior, steady, alert, and unbreakable. The key is daily practice. Every day gives you a chance to strengthen your calmness. When life frustrates you, remind yourself, this is my training. When people test your patience, remind yourself, this is my dojo. Every difficult situation is an opportunity to grow. And as your calmness grows, so will your clarity. You'll start to see that most battles in life are illusions created by the ego. The things that used to upset you will no longer reach you because you've built a fortress of awareness within. Your energy will no longer scatter in 100 directions. It will stay centered. From that stillness, your actions will become sharper, your words more powerful, your presence more magnetic. So train your calmness the way you train your body. Feed it discipline, test it under pressure, strengthen it with silence, and when you stumble, because you will, forgive yourself, breathe, and continue. Because mastery is not about never falling, it's about rising again with greater peace each time. Calmness is a skill. Practice it until it becomes who you are. In the noise of the world, your calmness will speak louder than any shout. And one day, when you face the storm again, you'll smile. Not because it's gone, but because you've learned to stand still in the rain. 6. Accept that you can't control everything. For a long time, I believed mastery meant control. Control over my body, control over my surroundings, control over outcomes. I trained my mind and my muscles to perfection because I thought power came from domination. The ability to shape life into exactly what I wanted it to be. But life has a way of humbling even the strongest man. The truth is, you can discipline your body, sharpen your mind, and perfect your technique, but you can never control everything. The rain will fall when it wants to fall. The wind will blow where it wants to blow. The world will not always move according to your rhythm. When I was young, I wanted everything to go according to plan. If something disrupted my routine, I would grow frustrated. If someone didn't meet my expectations, I would feel betrayed. I thought peace meant making the world fit me. But one day I realized, that's not peace. That's illusion. True peace is when you stop demanding the world to obey you and start flowing with it instead. That is where power truly begins. Not in control, but in acceptance. I remember once while filming, we had to shoot an outdoor scene. The weather was unpredictable and the schedule was tight. Clouds gathered, thunder rolled, and everyone began to panic. The director wanted to cancel. The crew was frustrated. I could feel tension building all around me. For a moment, I felt it too. I wanted to control the situation, to fight against it. But then I stopped. I looked at the sky and thought, you cannot control the rain, but you can control your reaction to it. We adjusted the camera angles, improvised, and turned the moment into something even better than planned. That's when I understood that life is not about forcing the storm to stop. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. Most people spend their lives fighting what they cannot control. They get angry at traffic, at people, at timing, at fate itself. But the more you fight reality, the more it resists. Life is like water. If you try to grab it tightly, it slips through your fingers. But if you open your palm, it rests gently. Control is not the key to peace. Surrender is. Not surrender as in defeat, but surrender as in trust. Trust that life knows what it's doing even when you don't. The mind that always wants control is the mind that suffers the most. Because the more you try to control, the more you realize how little you truly can. You cannot control what others think of you. You cannot control when people will leave. You cannot control whether the world will always be kind. You can only control yourself, your attitude, your focus, your response. That's where real freedom begins. In martial arts, I learned this deeply. When you fight with tension, your movements are rigid. When you resist too much, you lose flow. The great fighter doesn't resist the opponent's force. He redirects it. He moves with it, uses its momentum, and turns it into his advantage. That's life. The man who tries to resist everything breaks. The man who learns to flow becomes unstoppable. When my career began to grow, many people around me tried to define me. They wanted to label me action star, philosopher, fighter, teacher. At first, I wanted to control that image. I wanted to explain myself, to prove that I was more than what they thought. But later, I let go. I realized that people will always see what they want to see. My job was not to control their perception. It was to live my truth. The moment I released the need to control how others saw me, I became truly free. You see, control is an illusion the ego creates to feel safe. The ego says, if I can manage every detail, I'll never get hurt. I'll never fail. But life doesn't work that way. The purpose of life is not to eliminate uncertainty. It's to grow strong enough to stand within it. When you accept that uncertainty is a part of the journey, you begin to relax. Your energy stops fighting against what is and starts working with it. Accepting that you can't control everything doesn't mean you stop trying your best. It means you stop attaching your peace to outcomes. Do the work, but let go of the results. Plant the seed, but don't demand the flower to bloom on your schedule. Life will open in its own time, in its own way. And when it does, it will often surprise you, sometimes with pain, sometimes with beauty, always with truth. When you resist life, you create suffering. When you accept life, you create flow. That's why calmness and acceptance go hand in hand. When something doesn't go your way, instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What is this teaching me?" Because life is not punishing you, it's preparing you. Every delay, every rejection, every failure carries a lesson. But you can only see that lesson when you stop fighting it. When I faced setbacks, I used to feel restless. I wanted results fast, success, recognition, progress. But I learned that rushing is a form of resistance. It's saying to life, "I don't trust your timing." And life responds with more delay because patience itself is the test. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're ready to receive. And readiness comes through surrender. You cannot calm the storm by shouting at it. You cannot make people love you by demanding it. You cannot change fate by forcing it. But you can always remain centered within yourself. You can be the eye of the storm, where stillness exists, even while the winds rage. That's what mastery feels like. standing still in a moving world. You act with intention, but without obsession. You move with clarity, but without anxiety. You do your part, and then you trust life to do the rest. I once said, "Be like water." Many people repeat that line, but few truly understand it. Water flows, adapts, and accepts. It doesn't resist the rocks in its path. It shapes itself around them. It doesn't fight gravity. It uses it. It doesn't panic when it's disturbed. It always finds its level again. That's the secret of peace. Flow, not force. You will find incredible strength the day you stop trying to control everything, because that's the day your energy stops leaking into battles that don't matter. You stop fighting people, events, and emotions you cannot change, and you begin directing all that energy inward, toward mastering your own reaction, your own awareness, your own calm. So when life feels chaotic, when things don't go your way, when people act unfairly, remember, you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sail. You can't control the rain, but you can choose whether to dance in it or hide from it. Acceptance is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength, the kind that moves with life instead of against it. Mastery is not about bending life to your will. It's about bending your will to flow with life. Once you understand this, peace is no longer something you search for. It becomes the ground you stand on. 7. Turn triggers into teachers. There was a time when I hated being triggered. When something or someone upset me, I saw it as a personal attack, a sign that I was being disrespected or challenged. I wanted to eliminate all triggers, avoid difficult people, escape uncomfortable situations, and silence anything that disturbed my peace. But over time, through pain, failure, and reflection, I realized something profound. Your triggers are not your enemies. They are your teachers. They reveal where your inner work still needs to be done. They are mirrors reflecting the parts of you that still need strength, healing, or understanding. When someone provokes you, the natural instinct is to react, to defend yourself, to prove something, to fight back. But if you pause and look deeper, you'll notice that the intensity of your reaction is not really about the other person. It's about you. It's about what still lives unresolved inside you. The insult doesn't hurt because of the words. It hurts because it touched an old wound that never healed. The criticism doesn't sting because it's true. It stings because it echoes a voice you've carried in your mind for years. The disappointment doesn't break you because of the situation. It breaks you because it reminds you of every time you felt powerless. When you start seeing your triggers this way, everything changes. You stop seeing life as an enemy to fight and start seeing it as a dojo, a training ground for your inner mastery. Every trigger becomes a lesson in disguise. Every emotional reaction becomes an opportunity to understand yourself more deeply. The world becomes your teacher, and your emotions become your textbook. I learned this the hard way. When I was teaching martial arts, I would sometimes face students who came only to challenge me. They wanted to prove they were stronger or faster. At first, their arrogance would trigger me. I would feel my ego rise, the urge to dominate, to show them who I was. But then I realized something. Their arrogance was showing me my own pride. Their lack of respect was testing the strength of my humility. Each time I stayed calm instead of reacting, I grew stronger. Each time I resisted the urge to fight ego with ego, my mind sharpened like a blade. In life, we meet many teachers disguised as obstacles. The rude colleague, the unfair boss, the slow progress, the broken plans. These are not accidents. They are part of your training. They are your mirrors. Life will keep sending you the same lessons through different people and situations until you finally learn what you need to learn. If anger keeps finding you, it's because patience still needs practice. If jealousy keeps burning you, it's because gratitude hasn't rooted deeply enough. If fear keeps paralyzing you, it's because faith still needs to grow. The problem is never the trigger. it's how you interpret it. When I was younger, my goal was to conquer the external world, to be the fastest, the strongest, the best. But as I matured, I understood that the real battle is inward. The goal is not to stop being triggered. It's to understand the trigger so deeply that it no longer controls you. A master doesn't avoid the fire. He learns how to walk through it without burning. That's what emotional mastery means. Think about it. If you never get triggered, how would you know where your weaknesses are? How would you grow? Comfort doesn't teach. Conflict does. Every time life pushes your buttons, it's showing you a doorway, a chance to meet the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. When you feel anger rising, don't suppress it. Study it. When you feel envy, don't judge yourself. Explore it. Ask yourself, why does this make me feel this way? Each answer will take you one step closer to freedom. I used to say, a wise man can learn more from a foolish question than a fool can learn from a wise answer. The same applies here. A wise person can learn more from a painful trigger than a fool can learn from years of comfort. Because pain wakes you up. It forces awareness. It burns away illusion. Your triggers are not punishments. They are invitations. Invitations to grow, to let go, to strengthen your mind. The person who criticizes you is helping you practice humility. The one who disrespects you is helping you build composure. The failure that breaks you is teaching you perseverance. The delay that frustrates you is sharpening your patience. Every difficulty, when viewed correctly, becomes a lesson in disguise. Once you start treating triggers as teachers, your entire experience of life transforms. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as a student of the universe. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That question alone turns chaos into wisdom. In martial arts, we train by facing resistance. The punch, the block, the pressure. Without resistance, there's no strength. The same principle applies to life. Every emotional trigger is resistance training for the mind. The more you face it with awareness instead of avoidance, the stronger you become. Eventually, the things that once provoked you will no longer touch you, not because the world has changed, but because you have evolved. There was a period in my life when the opinions of others affected me deeply. I wanted everyone's approval. I wanted to be understood, but no matter how much I tried, someone always misunderstood, someone always criticized. One day I realized the trigger wasn't their words. It was my need for validation. I was giving my peace to others to protect my ego. So I stopped. I turned inward. I began to build a foundation of self-respect that no opinion could shake. Now, when someone criticizes me, I listen, but I no longer absorb. I learn what's useful, and I let the rest go. That's how you transform triggers into wisdom. Every reaction you master is a step closer to freedom. The ultimate goal is not to live a life without triggers, but to live a life where triggers lose their power. Imagine walking through chaos and feeling peace inside. Imagine facing insult and feeling no anger. Imagine watching everything collapse around you and still smiling, because you know your peace doesn't depend on what happens outside. That's not fantasy, that's mastery. And mastery begins when you stop running from discomfort. Every difficult moment is your training. Every emotional reaction is a lesson. Observe, reflect, learn, grow. Let life teach you without resistance. So the next time something triggers you, pause. Don't say, why me? Say, thank you. Because that moment is your mirror. That's your opportunity to rise above your old self. The world isn't attacking you, it's awakening you. When you can look at your triggers and smile, when you can say, you can no longer control me, that's when you've stepped into true freedom. That's when you've learned the secret that took me years to discover. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. That's how a warrior of the mind is forged. Not in comfort, not in peace, but in the fire of everyday triggers that turn into lessons, and lessons that turn into wisdom. So train your calmness, honor your triggers, and let every challenge polish you into something unshakable. Because at the end of the journey, peace isn't found by escaping life. It's found by mastering it. And mastery begins the moment you stop reacting and start learning. Life will always test you. It will push your limits, challenge your patience, and strike you where you're most vulnerable. You will meet moments that make your blood boil, people who misunderstand you, and situations that try to drag you into chaos. But remember this, what happens outside of you is not nearly as important as what happens inside of you. The world will always have storms, but peace belongs to those who learn how to stand still in the rain. I used to believe mastery meant conquering others, being faster, stronger, louder, more dominant. But through the years, I discovered something far deeper. The greatest victory is to conquer yourself. The man who can stay calm when everything around him is falling apart, the one who can remain clear when everyone else is losing control, that man possesses true power. Because calmness is not weakness, it's awareness, it's clarity in motion, it's the space between impulse and action where wisdom is born. Every lesson I've shared with you, to stop letting the outside control the inside, to find power in the pause, to never let emotion dictate your direction, to observe without absorbing, to train calmness like a muscle, to accept that you can't control everything, and to turn your triggers into teachers. All of these are not just ideas. They are practices. They are ways of living. They are the foundation of true mastery, the mastery of self. Understand this. Calmness is not about being numb or detached. It's about staying centered while still feeling everything. It's about standing in the fire without burning, walking through chaos without losing balance, and hearing the noise of the world while keeping your inner silence intact. The calm warrior is not blind to pain. He simply refuses to let pain turn him bitter. He does not run from fear. He studies it until it loses its control. He does not chase control. He finds flow. There was a time when I believed that the world was my opponent. Every obstacle felt like an attack. Every rejection felt personal. But as I grew wiser, I realized that life was not against me. It was training me. Every challenge, every failure, every trigger was sharpening me, not to harden me, but to awaken me. You see, pain refines you if you let it. Triggers teach you if you listen. Chaos molds you if you stop fighting it and start learning from it. Life is a master teacher, and calmness is the language through which it speaks. The world tries to make you hurry, to react, to prove, to shout, but mastery is quiet. Power is still. The deeper you understand yourself, the less you need to explain yourself. That is where true calmness comes from, knowing who you are so deeply that the noise outside no longer defines you. When someone insults you, you smile, not because you're weak, but because you know their words cannot touch your peace. When things fall apart, you breathe, not because you're indifferent, but because you trust life's timing more than your own impatience. You must train this calmness daily, through silence, through discipline, through awareness. When you feel anger rise, breathe. When you feel fear, tighten your chest, relax your body. When you feel pride whisper that you must prove yourself, let humility answer instead. These small moments are your practice grounds. Each calm response is another brick in the foundation of your inner strength. Over time, you will find that what once provoked you no longer reaches you. The same world, the same chaos, but a completely different you. There is a quote I often repeated to myself: the successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus. But that focus doesn't come from force, it comes from calmness. You can't see clearly through a shaking mind. You can't strike precisely when emotion clouds your vision. Calmness sharpens everything. Your thoughts, your words, your movements, your perception. It connects you to your power. So, I say this to you, do not run from your triggers. Face them. Do not fear discomfort. Train within it. Do not try to control the world. Master yourself instead. Be the observer, not the storm. Be the water, adaptable, clear, unshakable. Because calmness is not just a state of being, it's a weapon, a shield, and a teacher. It is the foundation of every form of mastery. When life tests you next, when someone disrespects you, when plans collapse, when the world feels too loud, remember, you have already trained for this. You are no longer the person who reacts. You are the person who responds. You are not controlled by chaos. You are centered within it. That's what it means to live like water. That's what it means to embody true strength. So breathe, slow down, see clearly, and know this truth. The calmest mind is the most powerful force in the world. Be still, my friend. Be aware. Be water. And when everything around you tries to trigger you, smile, because you know something they don't. The battle outside no longer matters, for you have already won the one within.